All right, I am back here with another episode of Craven Some Raven. If I sound a little stuffy, it's because I spent the night at someone's house who had a cat, and I'm allergic to cats. So, I'm a little stuffy, but the show must go on. And I just feel like recording. It fits my schedule to do it right now. So, in this episode, I am going to be talking about guys in the draft who I think the Ravens should draft, or at least I hope these guys are their names are being called while the Ravens are on the clock, um, or not on the clock when the pick is in. It's a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of these guys just off the bat might not even make it to the Ravens, or I think I don't know. These are just players that I like that I hope the Ravens draft. A ton of names that I wrote down. I think I'm probably gonna just do it position by position. Like 3 to 4 players in each position, and guys that I really like at said position. So, but first, I got some business to take care of because I have a sponsor. So, my sponsor today is your local mall. Are you tired of saving money conveniently online? Does Jeff Bezos creep you out? Is 2 days just too long of a wait to get your products? Well, your local mall is still around and here to mitigate your worries. Your local mall features such classics as teenagers without adult supervision, the smell of pretzels, nasty massage chairs, and someone in the food court who's enjoying their ice cream cone a little bit too much. Also, such more classics as the train for kids that always seems to cut you off, and even a security guard on a Segway. With your local mall, you won't just be throwing away your money online, you'll literally be throwing away your money into an indoor pond. Better make that wish to not be stabbed in the parking structure, so be sure to come into your local mall today. Your local mall. Hot Topic is still a thing. Also, another sponsor. This episode is also brought to you by Mimes. Wow, excellent stuff there. If you're wondering why you didn't hear anything, it's a mime. Get it? Anyways, so getting into things, I think I'm going to start off with the O linemen. They're boring to watch, so I'm just going to say some names, not really get into them too much. I think first and foremost, Garrett Bradbury, the center. He's by all the draft nicks to kind of put him as number one in as number one center, kind of on everybody's list. Watching his tape, I mean, yeah, he looks like a good center. I hope the Ravens draft him in the first round. I think it's the biggest position of need for the Ravens. I was surprised at how well Matt Skura did. Is it Skura? Just Skura? It's kind of a dumb name. What is that, Italian? Anyways, he did better than I expected, but I think if we can get somebody who could be a stalemate, even Pro Bowl level, everyone's saying he has Pro Bowl ability, so I would enjoy that. Great in pass coverage, good against the run. He's not the biggest guy. He's not a mauler. He's more just always in perfect position because he's got great speed and instincts. Some other names: Dalton Reisner. He played tackle, but he also played center early on in his college career. So I think that flexibility would be good for us. And then Cody Ford, the tackle at Oklahoma. I think that'd be cool to bring him back and have him work with. One sec. Have him continue to play with Orlando Brown. I think that'd be cool. He played tackle, but a lot of people see him as a guard. I'm not a huge fan of having guys change positions just because of their physical measurements, but I think that'd be great to have them on the same side of the line because they already have that connection. And really just any of the Oklahoma linemen, I think there's like 3 or 4 of them coming out. I think all of them, they each will have value in the later rounds. Cody Ford's probably going to be the top guy, but each of the other guys, I believe, are going to have great value. And then any of the Wisconsin O linemen as well, they're O line U apparently. So really, just any of them coming out. None of them are like the top dogs, but I could see really any number of them falling into the fifth round and us getting a starting caliber lineman in the fifth round. So, with that said, maybe I'll get into like D line, edge rusher kind of guys. So, one guy on my list, I really like Ja'Kai Polite. He might be available at pick number 22, but he also, I could see him going like pick number 10. I could see him going as high as 10 or as late as the second round. It's just hard to tell because of how much depth there is at the position. Will people decide to wait on a pass rusher because there's so much depth? So that way it leaves hopefully the Ravens open to grabbing even a higher tier talent at that position like Ja'Kai Polite, because people would rather wait till the second round to grab somebody who might just be a little bit not as polished. I really like his upside. His speed off the ball, off the snap, is elite. It's his biggest strength and why he's viewed so highly. He just gets off the ball and is nasty with his moves, like super quick. But he's not slender. He's a big dude, so it's surprising how quick he is. Just an overall great defender with great get off. Still like solid against the run, so I think he'd be a good number one guy that could kind of fill in and start to take over once seeing what we do with Terrell Suggs. But that's it on him. Another guy, yeah, I'm not really going to go into stats. I'm just going to list these names, why I like them, basic information. Another guy I like is Charles Omenihu from Texas. He's like an edge defender, seems more like a run stuffer, but he had production in the passing game. And, there's so many edge rushers people are talking about, and the thing I noticed, I was like watching a lot of game tape on wide receivers or running backs, watching the offensive team, and a lot of the times I'm watching these offensive games, you just keep hearing names in these certain games. So a lot of people who I was watching when they were playing Texas, you just kept hearing Omenihu making plays, and if I'm not even watching you and you're the one who keeps popping up on tape, that is a very good sign. And another thing, he had a great Senior Bowl. So if you can do it, up against the nation's top seniors, that usually translates well. The Ravens seem to enjoy their Senior Bowl talent. They have a plethora of picks who they really got to get a good look at and interview at the Senior Bowl. So I think he's one of these guys. I think he could be a number one pass rusher, replacing of Terrell Suggs, great against the run, great against the pass. Neither of his games is more dominant than the other. He just seems to produce and make plays every single game. Once again, dominant at the Senior Bowl. And I just really like the fact that I didn't have to do any extra research on. I didn't have to watch tape on him. Like his games just spoke for themselves. Just watching someone else and his name being the one that consistently came up in the tape. Very impressive. Liked what I saw from him. Might be available in the second round. We don't have a second round pick, but oh well. Let's see who else I got here. I kind of just wrote these names down all out of order. There's no rhyme or reason, just like names that I like, just kind of wrote them down. So I kind of just have names everywhere in no positional order at all. So another guy, Tristan Hill, he went to UCF. He's kind of interesting because his last season he only started one game. You'd like your players to be starting, but oh well. Yeah, I heard about him from a guy, Ravens YouTuber. He goes over kind of game tape what's his name? Edgar Allan. Yeah, so it's kind of a good Ravens name. And he turned me on to this guy, his tape, and he is just super explosive off the line. He's consistently the first one off the ball, and he is just great penetration. He's not the biggest dude. He looks kind of small to be an interior D lineman, but he is just so explosive, so quick that he gets underneath the lineman, before they even have a chance, and he is always just in the backfield, no matter what play you watch. Even when he doesn't make the play, he's wreaking havoc in the back, and I was watching the combine a little bit this morning. Stopped watching it because I was gonna film this, and he's kind of balling out a little bit, so people are kind of looking at his name a little bit more. So maybe he won't fall as far as I thought. I was thinking he might be there in like the fifth round, but maybe he's going to be a fourth round pick now. Another one of what I hope like a Ravens fourth round starter that they seem to always get. Not the highest end talent, but guys who just produce and make plays. I wish the Ravens trade back and just have like 15 picks in the fourth round, because that seems to be their most successful round. They get the most starters out of, at least. Yeah, and this guy UCF, won like 25 games in a row with them, so obviously part of that very talented team. UCF, their whole vibe is just small, fast, but very good football players. Guys who are just too small to get to the big schools, get a scholarship from the big schools, so they just take that talent, like, hey, yeah, come play for us. And that this is one of those guys. So next, I'll do like inside linebacker. Not the biggest need, so I don't have many names here. I like Devin White and Devin Bush, the two bona fide top guys. I think they're the most likely to be dudes in the NFL that everyone's going to be talking about. Devin White, LSU, going to be the next elite LSU middle linebacker, come out, great against the run, great against the pass, he can hit, just an overall physical specimen. Whoa, did you hear that? There's some assholes talking shit back there. Yeah, so Devin White, I think he's the belle of the ball. He's the most elite when it comes to the middle linebackers. I would love the Ravens to grab him, even if we keep C.J. Mosley. I think passing up on him would be foolish. Just inside linebacker isn't the most pretty position to draft, so maybe he'll fall, but there's no way he falls all the way to 22. Yeah, there's just no way. And then Devin Bush, just another great linebacker out of Michigan. So, you got the Harbaugh tie there. So you got that Harbaugh tie, so that, maybe I think he could be there at 22. I don't think he's as elite as Devin White, but he's great against the run, great against the pass. He's super fast for someone who doesn't seem that big, but ultra productive. Going against some top Big Ten competition, looks great on paper. Another guy I have at inside linebacker is Terrell Hanks out of New Mexico State. Obviously I have him a little bit higher because I live in New Mexico. So when I hear names from New Mexico getting talked about, getting some hype, and I'm a huge fan of that, and deservedly so. He's a very good player, very instinctive. He batted a bunch of balls, out into the flat. Great tackler, just very instinctive. Obviously not the biggest, not the fastest. That's why he's at New Mexico State. Even though State's the worst football program in New Mexico compared to UNM, but that's for another time. But I really liked what I saw from him, and he's got that home dude for me, that hometown status for me, just because he's so close to home, even though it's a 3-hour drive. And he's someone that I think is another like 4th, 5th round guy, someone who possibly like dropped to the 5th, 6th round just because he's a New Mexico State product. And I think he could be very productive. So I think next I'm gonna save the best for last, like wide receivers and running backs. But I'm gonna get into, I guess, safeties now. So first on my list is Nasir Adderley out of Delaware. Um, I was super one of the top safeties, so he would have to be drafted pretty high for us. But super productive, um, excellent against the pass, real rangy, great ball skills at the Senior Bowl. I think he got the only interception. So it's like, what does he do up against top competition? Well, what do you know? He intercepts the ball. I think that'd be great. He'd be a great, fill in or a replacement for Eric Weddle. Similar styles. The back end, not so much the hitter stuff. Oh, got someone at the door. Ordered some DoorDash. Hold on. All right. Sorry. I just got some food delivered. Ate it up. I fucking love DoorDash. Because that's something, like, that was a perk of being a king back in the day. Go fetch me my food, squire. Delicious. Or, disgusting. Go to the dungeon and whip yourself. uh, just amazing. Got me a nice little breakfast sandwich and some soup. I'm in New Mexico and they're known for breakfast burritos, but I wanted to feel white. I wanted to feel extra white today. If you can't tell, I'm white. So, all in all, just delicious. So, getting back to where I was on Nasir Adderley. Like I said, rangy, good, great against the pass. Obviously, that's where his skill set lies, not so much in the run game. So, great. If we happen to cut Eric Weddle or he's not back on the team, I think he would fill in nicely. I believe he will be available in the second round. A lot of people had him real high in the first round, but I think that's just, it's kind of like cyclical, or it kind of goes in cycles. People get hyped up early on and then they end up falling because someone else ends up getting hyped up at, some players, they get hyped up at the perfect time, right before the draft. Everyone starts talking about him, everyone falls in love with him, and they end up going higher than they really should. So he's like, top guy, like second, third round. If you could grab him, I would be happy with that pick. Another Delaware product. We've had some pretty good success grabbing people from Delaware, so we could just be another one of those guys along that line, or in that same vein. Another guy on my list that I really like, that I super hope, add the super to the hope that they draft, is Darnell Savage out of Maryland. Obviously, he's going to be higher on my list just because he went to Maryland. But watching his tape, man, this guy is fast, quick, aggressive, all the things you want to see. He's not just a box safety or a rangy safety. He's a little bit of both. And I think I was thinking he could be available in the fourth round, but a lot of people are really starting to hype this guy up, as well they should, because he is a very good player. So he might be in the third round, but I could see someone falling in love, grabbing him like late second, early third, which I think would be a mistake on that team's behalf, but like value-wise. But I really like this player. I think he's going to be a starter and have great production in the NFL. A lot of times you watch his tape, like against the run, a lot of the times he's beating the linebacker to the hole, and it's not like he's up in the box. Like, no, he's all the way in the back, like 10 yards off the ball, and he's beating the linebacker who's like 5 yards off the ball, like to the hole, and meeting the running back, and it's very impressive. And then against the pass, I didn't see any deficiency in his coverage. I didn't watch crazy amount of tape, but I really like the name, Darnell Savage. I think that's, you need guys with excellent names, So if you could get like two safeties, so you got Darnell Savage, he's a savage, and then the other guy, you got like his last name would be like Hit. I don't know. He'll smack you in the mouth. You just need great names. It'd be a great name, great fit. Maryland guy. Overall, number one. Hope they draft him. I'm gonna do a mock draft, and I'm probably gonna have him in there. So, next. Do I have another safety on here? Yes, I do. Amani Hooker, and he went to Iowa. seeing his game, just ultra instinctive. Obviously, not the fastest guy, and pretty tough to watch because they have Steelers colors. So it's like, oh, he made a great play. Ew, the Steelers. But no, it's Iowa, and ultra productive. Like I said, instinctive. Ton of interceptions. Great while the ball's in the air, but not top speed. But it's just Iowa keeps pumping out these players like a Desmond King, where their speed isn't there, but just ultra productive and somehow just get their hands on the ball. Just excellent football players that go late because of their physical attributes, but outplay their draft status. So I think he's one of those guys, fifth round. You try to target him if you're looking at safety in that spot. That'd be a great pick. Great pick. So I believe now I'm gonna get into corners. I did the safeties, so next obviously you gotta do the corners. Probably not gonna do tight ends in this list, by the way, just because I don't think the Ravens should draft one. But so corner wise, just started off with like the bona fide, one of the top three. That's always who's the top guy. This guy's name is always there. Greedy Williams. I really like his style of play. Just a shut down corner. LSU, DBU. He's going to be next in line as the next great LSU cornerback to come out and have success in the league. Cornerback isn't the Ravens' biggest need, especially if you're talking like top end talent. But with not knowing what's going on with Jimmy Smith, Brandon Carr, and knowing you can never have too many corners, the Ravens have stated this, and they're right. You can never have too many. Sometimes they go down, and you can't have an injury at a cornerback position and it just derail your season. Because if you can't cover in the NFL, your team is toast. You're not going to have success no matter what. So I really like Greedy Williams. There's no way he falls to the Ravens at 22 unless they trade up, which don't do that, Eric DeCosta. Do not trade up in the draft. Please don't. I think he's got Pro Bowl potential. So just like an excellent number one cornerback who I thought his name was worth mentioning here, even though Ravens probably won't be able to get him. But like I said, this is just players I would be extremely happy if the Ravens got. So another guy on my list, Joejuan Williams. He went to Vanderbilt, and this dude is big. I think let me actually look this up real quick, because he's super tall. Yeah, he's 6'3", 208, so really big corner. When you watch him, he looks big, he plays big. He plays a lot of press, so it fits the Ravens style very much. I see him like Jimmy Smith. I don't know why he's not rated higher. The few games that I watched, in my eyes, he didn't lose a single rep. Some of the plays, like where he goes off screen, hey, I don't know what happened. They didn't throw to him. But when they threw to him, not many catches were made over him, and the ones that were, they were all contested. He wasn't beat badly at all. One kind of negative, because he's so big, he plays a lot of press, and what comes with the press game is if you get beat off the line, it looks kind of bad. But he didn't get beat off the line very much. And I was watching him up against Ole Miss. They have 3 draftable wide receivers. DK Metcalf wasn't playing that game, but going up against A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown only had 3 catches against him, and he went off that game in the overall scope of things. But each one of those passes, it was like a highlight reel catch. Damn, how the hell did he catch that? That's kind of it's a game of inches, and so if guys are catching over him, is that a negative? Yeah, not so much. The technique is there. You see it, and I think he could be a later round guy. I think he could be another one of those 4th round darlings that ends up as a excellent draft pick and starter because he's got number one potential. It's just is he quick enough to hang with the smaller receiver? Because up against the big boys, he does just fine. He actually excels and is is a number one quarterback option. But he doesn't look tight when he's playing. He looks like a solid dude running. He's got good agility. The size doesn't seem to hamper him. And man, this dude hits. That's really what I liked about him. This guy, he sheds blockers very well, and just smacks dudes in the mouth, which is something I like to see from a cornerback because a lot of times, like with Greedy Williams at least, he's not much of a hitter. But you get this guy, excellent, excellent, excellent tackler. So, they go to the outside, you ain't getting past him. Another guy on my list is another Florida dude, C.J. Henderson. I just liked his ball skills in the air. He seemed to play the ball very well while it's up in the air, and he plays with swag. I like the swagger he's got. Yeah, he's kind of weird looking. He's got like his helmet. It's like sits real high on his head, like almost like they have like a booster seat in his helmet. So it looks real weird. Like you see almost like the back of his head, like inside the helmet, like from the back end. But he plays with a lot of swag. I like that he makes a lot of plays on the ball, in the air, a lot of batted balls, like contested. And he that swag, like the receiver will try to catch it and they start jawing at each other and he's just sitting there with his arms crossed like, yeah, you saw what just happened. Yeah, you like that, don't you? A lot of the Florida Gators, the cornerbacks, they haven't really had crazy amounts of success. They're always hyped coming out because they play so well in college. But no one comes to my mind, at least off the top of my head. Someone where it's like, oh yeah, that guy went off, But he's a little bit smaller. Let's see, let me see what his size is right now. Damn, where's this guy on this list? He can't be this far down. Anyways, he's not like a big press corner. But he does a lot of press, and I think they do a lot of zone. So maybe scheme fit wise, it's not that great, but I think he's like someone who's gonna fall real low in the draft, and that's when we could grab him. See, another guy on my corners list. I got a lot of corners. I like a lot of them. But this will be my second to last one is Savion Smith from Alabama. An Alabama player that like no one's hyping up, but I really liked on tape. The games that I watched, he didn't lose many reps. He was always having success, and I think if you could get him in the 4th, 5th round, and pair him up with excuse me. So pair him up with Marlon Humphreys, and then maybe eventually if Anthony Averett becomes a starter, which I think he should. I liked what I saw in his rookie year. I think he's going to have a good sophomore season. I think he's going to play a lot more. I liked what I saw from him. So you get those two guys who played together. And then Savion Smith, I don't know if he played with Marlon Humphrey. They might have been on the same team at the same time. Like he's a freshman, he's a senior or something. But keeping guys together, I see that as a huge positive, and I would like to see the Ravens take more advantage of that because they already have the two, like I said, those two guys from Alabama. Alabama isn't considered a DBU, but they're quality players. They're not scrubs. These are good football players. For whatever reason, they're just not seen as highly. And there's always every single year there's just so many Alabama players coming out that someone always gets overlooked on the team. They're like, oh yeah, that dude played at Alabama. Let's not forget that. You got to be pretty good to get on Alabama's squad and then start. So I really liked what I saw from him. Real feisty in the run. Obviously Alabama, they love to hit over there. Real fast. He doesn't look like the most fluid guy, but he was always right there when the ball was getting to the receiver. Batted a lot of balls down. And I really liked what I saw. And they use him all over the field. So really, he'll fit our scheme, knowing that we have that Alabama pipeline. He'll fit in well. He'll be able to do all the different things that cornerbacks do for us. So, yeah, he's another one of these guys that I really hope the Ravens grab him. I'm probably going to put him in my first Ravens mock. So, I guess on to the next guy, smaller school guy, Jimmy Moreland from JMU. Being from Maryland, I know a lot of people who went to JMU, so people were kind of hyping this guy up. He had a pretty good Senior Bowl, and he reminds me a lot of Tavon Young. Like, he seems exactly like Tavon Young. The smallest dude out there, but like a pit bull. Feisty. Great in coverage, but very willing tackler, and has success tackling even at his frame. Someone who I think would be a good backup to Tavon Young as another like nickel guy, who can cover anybody. He can shadow anybody because of how quick he is. That short area quickness, which is so vital in a nickel corner. And I really liked what I saw from him. Just a small school guy, so he's obviously going to be available later on in the draft. I think he'd be another. Obviously, a lot of these guys are just like, I think, third, fourth, fifth round steals. And that's why they're kind of on my list, because I think the Ravens could grab them, and I think they should. Names, you got to keep your eye on, people. These are the names you got to keep your eye on, yeah? 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 So that's going to do it for my cornerbacks. See what other positions I got. We'll get into running back next, I guess. I don't have many names on this list just because I don't think running back's as big of a need as everyone thinks. I mean, I hope they draft one, but I hope they get the right guy. I hope they just don't get another guy. So, guys that I really want them to draft. Number one, first off, like I hope the Ravens get this guy the most, is Darrell Henderson out of Memphis. Huge, big play dude. Averaged like 9 yards a carry in 2017 and 2018. So it's like, these teams knew about him. He wasn't just some guy who's like, who the hell is this guy? Why is he kicking our team's ass? Like, no, you saw the tape and he still did it to you. And he's just got that huge, big play potential. Like so many times he gets the ball, and next thing you know, he's in the end zone 50 yards down the field. And it's like, how the hell did he get there so quick? How did he beat everybody? Like, the linebackers blink and he's gone. And he didn't even run like the fastest 40. I think it's just he's got great vision, finds the hole in a hurry, and gets up to top speed very quickly. And takes it to the house. And I think, we already got the bruiser. We already got like a all-around good running back in Kenneth Dixon, if he can stay healthy. I call Kenneth Dixon Peter Cottontail, because he's always hopping around. Like, he's always up on his toes, like hopping around. Like, he's not low very often. He's always like standing straight up and like hopping around, like boing, 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 boing. So we already got Peter Cottontail and the bruiser. Now we need the home run hitter, and I think that could be Darrell Henderson. I just really liked what I saw from him, and he consistently did it. So it's, why won't he consistently do it? If you give him a hole, he's gonna hit it. Next on my list, Miles Sanders from Penn State. He was a late addition to my top 10 running backs. I had him in at number 8, and even then I was like, man, I think I should have had him higher. But I went from 1 to 10. I went in that order, so it's like I had already said these guys. But I just really, the more and more I watch him, the better he looks, and he balled out at the combine too. So now more and more hype around the league, or at least around fans and stuff. Fans and scouts, it seems, are more and more high on him. Oh, excuse me. And for good reason. I mean, he went to Penn State, so obviously you had Saquon Barkley there. He was his backup, and now it was his time to shine. And looking at him, he looks and runs just like Saquon. He just doesn't have that big play. He doesn't have that sort of big play speed. But his running style, like his juke moves, his spins, the way he uses his legs, like his body type, they're identical. And he looks super fluid at the combine. made everything look super easy. So I think he could be, I was thinking he could be there in the fourth round, again in the fourth round. But, I think he's moving up boards where he might be the third or second running back taken overall. Maybe not second. I think you're going to have the two Alabama guys and then him. Just like a overall great running back, but he's just got excellent vision. And I think a running back in general needs good vision, but especially in this offense because we will have holes open because of what Lamar brings to the table, and you got to be able to find that hole. And just excellent balance, excellent power, good combination of both of those. So with that, I also like Devin Singletary for us. I just really like his shiftiness too. He didn't have a great combine, so he's the kind of guy that I think would fall further down draft boards. Small school guy. So he already was. I mean, he's already seen as like top 5 running back, but with that combine performance, maybe he'll slip a little bit. He's just he jukes kind of like Lamar, like a similar style. So it'd be kind of cool to see just like double up on that move, like have the bruiser guy. It complements well with Lamar. It's like, well, why doesn't just another Lamar complement? Where they use the same juke move, where it's just that like stutter step. Which way am I going? So that'll do it on running backs. All these guys, all the names I'm saying are names that I hope to hear the Ravens draft. If they could get 2 or 3 of them, that would make me more than happy. And I'll probably do another podcast and be like, see, I fucking told you, bro. I fucking told you. As I just say every name in the draft. No, but these are guys that I think will have success. And a lot of people are starting to talk about, or, I'm not the only one talking about them. And I mean, there's a reason for that. There's a reason people are talking about them, because they're good. So with that, you know them, you love them, the wide receivers. I don't have that many. It's just I'm trying to keep this list kind of short. Like guys who I think would be excellent fits for the Ravens, and guys that I think we should draft. I don't want the Ravens to reach for a player. So a lot of those names I just didn't include, like a DK Metcalf, because, dude, after that combine, there's no fucking way he's getting the 22. He could be top 5 with what he did. He put up numbers that are Julio Jones level, and, everyone, they say the tape speaks for itself, just use the tape. You don't need to see the combine, but the combine affects people's views. So with that being said, these guys, they're in no particular order. So first, I have Hakeem Butler, that 6'6" monster. You know him, out of Iowa State. I think he could be there in the second round. Even possibly the third. But I just think his physical attributes are gonna jump him up on the board. I think he has potential to be like top 10 receiver in the NFL, just due to his body type and his big play ability. Excellent at adjusting to the ball in air. Real tough to bring down. And it's not just because he's, bigger than most corners. He's just tough to bring down. Like, even if a big guy comes and hits him, he stays on his feet very well. And super shifty, too. Like, subtle shiftiness that is kind of underrated, I think. Of his ability to juke guys in the open field. And just 6'6" monster. I just wish they threw to him more. He probably would be a higher pick if they would throw to him more. But for whatever reason, they decided not to throw to their best receiver on every single down. So I think he'd be a great pick. Oh, and a Baltimore kid, comes from Baltimore. So that's another, we Ravens fans love our Maryland players, people who come out of this, out of the DMV. So, Hakeem Butler. Next, Andy Isabella. Now, this is kind of everyone's draft darling, so I'm no one special here with my take on him. This guy, he's going to be the next small, quick, elusive, white wide receiver. The next guy, the Wes Welkers of the world, the Julian Edelmans, basically just name any Patriots receiver. He's the next one of those guys. And, dude, all of those guys having success and him just checking off all the boxes and seeing his game tape, just so elusive in the open field, ton of production at UMass. Real fast. He ran the combine, I think, like a 4.31. So obviously super fast. Speed's not going to be the issue for him. It's size, but the NFL is kind of getting smaller, and these guys, have had success. So there's no reason to believe he's not just going to be another one of these guys. Excellent hands too. It's not like he's dropping the ball. So he's got to be on my list. Like another second round guy. We don't have a second round pick. I'll say it again. But just an excellent player who I believe has Pro Bowl potential. Also, good name, Isabella. It's like super Italian, but also like a princess, Isabella. So next on my list, I have, where is he? Anthony Ratliff Williams. I'm hearing no one talk about this guy, so he is going to be, I'm claiming him as my guy. Yeah, see, you got talent, kid. You need an agent, you're going places, I'm telling you. This dude, he went to UNC, so he didn't play, he's not small school level, but I mean, that's not the toughest conference. But this dude just has great hands, ultra productive, great blocker. His guys never get off of him. He's super sticky. He played quarterback in high school, so he can spin the ball on like trick plays. They use him in the return game. They use him on jet sweeps, and he had success anytime he had the ball in his hands. He had great success. Excellent downfield, great with contested catches, and the only reason he gets open. And the only reason he was making contested catches is because his quarterback wasn't throwing him open. He was just throwing it up, and he would still come down with it. I watched like 3 or 4 games of his, like cuts of his games, or whenever he's on the field, they'll show those plays. He only dropped the ball once, and it was another one of those shitty balls that just got tossed up. He got his hands on it, and the defender didn't have their hands on it. Kind of hit his arm a little bit, but it was a drop by him. But out of all of these guys, he had the least drops that I've seen, and I'm hearing no one talk about him, and I don't know why. I really just like what I saw. He looks like a number 1 wide receiver. He kind of reminds me of like Willie Snead, do the dirty work kind of guy, but at UNC, no, he's the flashy player. He is very much UNC's game plan. So I don't see why that success won't translate. I just don't understand why I'm not hearing anybody talk about him. So keep an eye on that name. It's hard to forget. Anthony Ratliff Williams. You got a hyphen in your name, you're gonna be remembered, yo. Yeah, he's a Ratliff, yo. He's a buff rat. Yo, I'm a rat that lift, homie. So I really, really, really hope the Ravens draft this guy just because I really like what I saw from him on tape. Another guy who I really like what I saw from him on tape is Jacoby Myers out of, I think it's Nebraska or NC. I don't know, it's a school. Let's see. Right, so I'll look it up. Yeah, it's NC State. And he is Kelvin Harmon's teammate. And the reason I was watching tape on Kelvin Harmon, cuts of the game where it's anytime he's on the field, that's the plays you watch. And he's supposed to be this guy who's like, top 5 wide receiver in the nation for this draft. And this dude Jacoby Myers, he's making all the fucking plays. Like, of the few games that I was watching with Kelvin Harmon, Kelvin Harmon, he had some flashy plays and looks like a good wide receiver, don't get me wrong. But Jacoby Myers was doing all the work. Like, this guy, he gets open over the middle of the field all the time. Outside, he gets open and makes the catch, and he's super tough to bring down. Like, watching him, he's always got like a bunch of dudes around him after he catches the ball, because they throw it to him a lot when it seemed like it was zone coverage, or I guess he caught the ball mostly against zone coverage, so he can find the zone very well, which I think fits our offense very well because I think a lot of teams are going to play zone because of Lamar. They're going to have to be looking at the quarterback just in case he takes off. So I think they're going to be playing a lot of zone coverage. And so if you get guys who are great against the zone, I mean, you do the math here, that should be a plan for success. And this dude is excellent. And like, so a lot of times, he's catching the ball. There's like three dudes converging on him, and it takes all three. Like I didn't ever see him get away and, take off downfield, but it took all three of those guys where he spun off of one, where you stand kind of in like one spot and just like do some like quick dodges to get around him, and it took all three to bring him down, and I just really like what I saw from him. So I think last on my list, and probably the last dude I'm gonna say is wide receiver from, you guessed it, Louisville, Jalen Smith. Obviously just getting guys who are comfortable with Lamar already. Like, they won't have to do any work. I mean, they're going to, but in theory, they wouldn't have to because they already know each other. They're already friends. Hey, buddy, good to see you. So I think they already kind of have that connection. They already got that timing down. And anything you can do to make Lamar's life easier in the new offense, I think you got to do it. And I think you got to take this guy. I really hope they draft him because I think, talent-wise compared to everyone else, he's towards the bottom of the list. But due to his connection with Lamar, you gotta put him higher on that list. And I really hope the Ravens draft him, just because I think it'd be an excellent fit there. So, with that said, that's going to be it. This is a pretty long one, like 46 minutes. But, I mean, there's so many players to talk about. There's so many names. If the Ravens draft any of these guys, like I said, I will be happy. I would love to hear these names. I'm probably going to name this episode names I hope to hear when the Ravens pick, or something like that, like a really long and convoluted title name. So, with that, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to talk to me, I'll read an email, I'll read a question, answer any questions you got. I'll be in touch because I don't get any emails so far, but you can send me an email at csrpod@gmail.com. That's spelled csrpod@gmail.com. With that said, I actually did get an email, and I will answer it. This guy wanted to remain nameless, but he said, "Hey, love the podcast. It's the best in the world, even better than JRE." Wow, thanks, man. I guess says, "First time, long time." Excellent. Yeah, I've been out for a week, so yeah, long time. This is totally a real email, and he asks, "Are the rumors true that you have the world's biggest penis?" Well, I have heard that I have the world's biggest penis. It actually got offers to several D1 schools. It stands in at 6'6", 130 pounds, so a little bit lanky, long and lanky. But got an invite to the scouting combine, but chose to go back to school and pursue his career in hotel management. So, yes, sir, to answer your question, the rumors are true. So, if you like the podcast, subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff. It all helps. Or don't. I don't give a fuck. You do you. I'm just doing this for fun. But one day, it would be nice to have some real ads. I mean, those ads I had at the beginning of this show, those were real. But I'd like to have, like some real money makers. Like your local mall, they're not really paying that much these days. That's kind of why they're putting ads out. They need people to get in there. And then mimes, they just get coins. So, with that being said, that's going to do it. Do this in under 50 minutes. So, thank you, and have a great day.